And we're live. Welcome, everybody, to the Lakers Outsiders podcast. I don't know how long we'll be live for. I think we're all battling internet connection problems. Me more so than these two, but joining me today are two ugly but familiar faces. On my right is Ryan Kellip here, who, Ryan, I don't think you've been on in a while. What have you been up to?
Um, just trying to find a way to cause some sort of controversy that will get Byron Scott on the hot seat. It's difficult though.
Yeah,
I've,
I mean,
yeah.
you're doing you're doing more than me and pretty much everybody else, though. So, but he's pretty good at doing that himself. So. And then on my left is Matt Vazine. Matt, you just got done with a tennis match, I'm pretty sure.
I
Did
did
you win
not
or
play
lose?
tennis. No, I did not play tennis. I was gonna say though, Ryan's like me from last year. He's like the Matt for this season on podcast.
No, that's officially really gone to Anthony because
That's true.
I don't know what's going on with it. No.
I
Uh,
don't play against 5-year-olds in tennis though, so I'm not sure I can qualify as Matt.
yeah, only Matt has that distinction. Only Twitter follower I have that does that. Um, all right, so those of you that didn't watch, we're here to recap the Warriors and Celtics. I mean, the Lakers and Spurs, since that's the game that they kind of secondarily showed most of the night. So, the Lakers fell to 3-20. I think it's 3-20. The losses are all just piling up at this point. But it wasn't really all that bad, despite losing by, I think it was 22. What were some of your guys' takeaways from the game? Matt, we'll start with you.
Well, I think that the main thing to take away was DAngelo Russell. It's really looking like he's not a bust, guys. The way he's playing the last couple of games, I would say we can take that label off of him, right?
He's
But
still a
no,
bust.
23 shots was.
You have
Oh,
to
he's
be
still a
good
bust.
from
Yeah, my
day
bad.
one.
He's probably.
If you're not good from day one, you're a bust.
Yeah, true. He missed 14 shots today. Terrible. He sucks. No, but 23 shots, career high. So that was great to see. Even though he struggled with his shot toward the end of the game. He finished 9 of 23, but 24 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That's what we like to see, and we like to see the 36 minutes, which I guess is probably the thing that stood out the most to me, was that he finally got a good amount of minutes, and it took Jordan Clarkson not playing for that to happen, but it's okay. Um, but I mean, in terms of the actual game, Spurs just kind of ran away within the fourth. Clearly the better teams. That's not too much of a surprise. Robert Sacre played 12 minutes, which is 12 minutes too much. And he was awful. He was really bad.
He was the corner three specialist tonight.
Yeah, he was. Nothing to say about that. One other thing that stood out to me is that Julius Randle, he kind of struggled today, but
Yeah.
we'll see if he bounces back next game.
Yeah, you mentioned that Russell had 23 shots tonight, and that's kind of a breath of fresh air because where there's a different guy that usually shoots that many times. Ryan, just talk about the vast difference that it is when Russell takes 23 shots as opposed to Kobe does this year.
Well, for one, Russell usually takes his shots like in the flow of the game. It's not like Kobe where it's like he's not a ball stopper. And also it's more fun because we know Russell, like the more shots Russell takes, well, not necessarily more shots, but the more he's handling the ball, the more he's controlling things, the better he's going to be in the future. So like I don't mind, even if he missed, I mean, he was 9 of 23 or 22, like that's not a great shooting night, but he was getting to his spots, and it's just something that it's like a glimpse into the future basically. Where Kobe, it's like he's done after this year, so to see him take shots away from other players is not fun. But as far as like my main takeaway, I think the offense was a lot simpler than normal. Like they seemed to get into they either would do like a pick and roll at the top, which is what we all want because Russell's so good at that, or they would just go like either throw it into the post and and do a handoff sort of thing. There weren't any of those possessions where like Roy Hibbert would be standing at the 3-point line holding the ball for 10 seconds and then would have to heave up a shot, or it seemed like there were fewer ISOs, and a lot of that too is because Kobe wasn't ISOing or taking like ill-advised shots. He was actually moving the ball pretty well too. So.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is the Lakers' offense was so good, especially to start the game, because they were just letting Russell kind of take the reins of the offense, and there was a lot of high pick and rolls. And Kobe even, he started out the game really well because he was taking pretty good shots. I know he hit like the one double clutch jumper in the first quarter there, but no, for the most part he took good shots. And Kobe, I think he finished 5 of 12. So it's like if you can keep Kobe around 12 shots, and I think he looked to get Russell more involved in this game. And I mean that's got to be the general direction of the team moving forward, right, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way Kobe played today for the most part. 12 shots is 20. I mean, 29 minutes is even maybe a little too high, but it's okay. Pretty much, if the rest of the year we can go with Kobe around 20, 25 minutes, then let the young guys finish the game like they did against Minnesota. I think we'd all be content with whether we win or lose.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll just say for me, like, because we've seen this from Kobe before, like 2000, the year when we had Dwight and Nash and Powell, like he had those games where he would, he would basically like wouldn't even look to score, and we've kind of seen that the last 2 games, but in the past it never really, like he would always revert back to his old self, and I just hope that, I mean, he will, like he'll have some games where he shoots like 3 of 37 or whatever, but I just hope that like we see these type of games more often, just because it's better, like one, it's better basketball, and 2, it's just better for the young players. But yeah, hopefully he stays with this because it's a lot better for the team.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there's we've seen bits and pieces of this in the past with Kobe, only to kind of go back to the norm, so to speak, with him. And hopefully this is a different year. I mean, I know in the Minnesota game, Kobe did something that he never would have done, and I mean, he told Byron Scott like, "Hey, don't put me back in. Like, let's let the young guys take over and see how they do down the stretch." And that's a huge step forward. Hopefully Kobe's kind of understanding his role, so to speak, and just taking a step back. And if they can keep those minutes down for him, because obviously with this like whole farewell tour thing, fans just want to see him play. I don't think fans want to see him play 40 minutes necessarily, but just having him out there and healthy for these games is important, and keeping his minutes down will obviously help that. So, Matt, you talked about Julius Randle and his struggles tonight. Why do you think he just wasn't able to really get it going?
He's had his like ups and downs, most of the ups throughout the year, but at times he's been a little inconsistent. I mean, I don't know, it could just be he's still so young. It's really his first year in the league, so we're gonna have games like this. But we all keep coming back to it when he can't finish with his right hand, and at times, I think tonight he was like 2 for 9, and some of it has to do with that. But I mean, he's had rough games earlier in the season, and he's bounced back almost right away. So I think I'm not too worried about how he played today.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you think? Because I mean, obviously he started, I think, like 0 of 6.
Yeah.
Like what are some things that he needs to do to really kind of prevent those starts?
Well, to me, like Mark Jackson said it, and like it might have been Jeff Van Gundy, and if it was Mark Jackson, I would say I hate agreeing with him, but he just didn't look like he was ready to play, and I think honestly that's a function of him not being used to coming off the bench. I mean, if you asked him, he probably hasn't come off the bench. I mean, he might not have ever come off the bench in his entire career besides this season or last year for like 5 minutes or whatever. So I think that's part of it. Like, because when you start, it's just different. There's some guys that are better at coming in, like Lou Williams, and there's some guys that they just play better when they start the game and they don't have to sit around. But also the Spurs defense too. That's one of the best defenses in the league. He had guys like David West and Diaw and Aldridge. Like those are veteran players guarding him. So these weren't guys that these guys have guarded the best players in the world for a long time. And the Spurs scout really well. Like they were overplaying his left hand. They knew he's not going to go to his right hand. And so it's just things. It's a product of basically all those things.
Yeah, it was, to me, it was a product of, I mean, the Spurs, being the Spurs, like you said, they scout really well. They just kind of know, I mean, they just know things. They have a lot of veteran players, and it was also, I think, a product of the lineups that he was on the floor with, because we joked earlier about Robert Sacre standing in the corner, but a lot of times, like, there was a couple of possessions where I noticed Randle would catch the ball around the elbow area, and he'd have, I think, Diaw in front of him, and I think it was David West, who was just, like, sitting there pretty much right underneath the basket, like right on the edge of the paint, and Sacre's over in the corner, and David West is just paying no attention to him at all. So he's just, like, waiting for Julius to drive, and that's not really an outlet to make the Spurs pay, by throwing it to Sacre in the corner. So,
right.
I think it was a product of, just the Spurs being the Spurs, and I mean, honestly, he was just with really terrible lineups tonight. So, I mean, he did do some nice things. Like, I remember there was a play he drove and hit Huertas for a wide open three, and of course he missed it. But no, I just think better lineups with him, and he'd be fine. So.
Did you guys see the play where they dumped it in? I think it was Patty Mills. He dumped it into Aldridge, and then Huertas goes to help. And then Aldridge just takes it back out, and Huertas was like lost, like confused as to why he did that. And Patty Mills just takes like a wide open three. I was just like, that's so simple. I don't know.
Well, the Lakers have been doing that all year. They unnecessarily dig down in the post and leave a shooter wide open.
He was like shocked, as if like that was an incredible pass. Like, wow.
Yeah. It's like guys will be posting up like 15 feet from the basket, and like they just double down for whatever reason and leave shooters wide open. So
yeah, it's just it's a scheme issue.
Yeah, it's one of the many defensive flaws with this team. They don't have a ton of defensive talent, but if you have proper schemes, that can kind of mask that a little bit. And I mean, Lakers don't really do that. So, you guys have any other takeaways from the game? I mean, anything else you wanted to touch on?
Let me look back at the box score to see if I have any memories.
I'll say that the play of the game was probably when Russell and Hibbert ran a pick and roll, and Russell hit Hibbert with a pocket pass, and then Hibbert just like stopped with the ball, and Russell just looked so pissed off at him. And you could just see his reaction, and I got a good kick out of that. But that's kind of been the theme the whole year, right, Ryan? Like, Russell's setting up guys, but a lot of times they just don't finish. Ryan?
Oh, you were lagging. I couldn't hear you. No, yeah, that's happened a lot this year, though. Hibbert's just not a pick-and-roll player. He's just clumsy with the ball, and that play today just doesn't – he's not aggressive around the rim. And they don't use him in pick and pops either, and he's a good mid-range shooter, so they should – and I'd like to see them do that more, but that's kind of asking a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, we had one player that was positive in the plus-minus stat. Guess who it was?
Brandon Bath.
Robert Sacre at +4.
Oh, my God.
Just tells you everything you know about that stat.
Well, and I hate that a lot of people bring up, like, DAngelo Russell's net rating and stuff like that, and it's like when you're on a terrible team, your net rating's probably going to be negative, like, all the time. It's the same thing with, like, with Okafor and, I mean, all these other rookies that are on poor teams. It's tough for them. Like, if it's the Warriors and you're evaluating like a bench player or something like that, I get it. But when you're evaluating terrible teams, there's going to be a lot of negatives in the stat column.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to touch on, I guess we can look forward to tomorrow night's game. Lakers finally round out their eight-game road trip. They go to Houston to take on everybody's favorite former Laker, Dwight Howard, and his buddy James Harden. That game starts at 5 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. I think it's just on League Pass, so we don't have to worry about any live look-ins on the Warriors. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go ahead and preview. What do the Lakers need to do tomorrow to come out with a win in Houston? Matt, we'll start with you.
Oh, win? Oh
Good
man.
luck with that.
Pick up make a couple of trades tonight. Probably get a new coach for the game. Yeah, to come with a win, I don't know, but what I'm looking forward to is how we're going to guard James Harden. Um, he
Or
hasn't
try to
been
guard him at
or
least.
try to guard James Harden. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys? What do you guys think we're gonna Who's gonna guard him tomorrow?
That's what I'm wondering because it sounds like Jordan Clarkson's going to be out again.
Yeah.
That leaves Russell, Lou Williams, and Kobe.
Yeah. See exactly.
Well, you could put Lou on. Who they start at point guard now? Beverly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you could put him on Beverly. I would just put Russell on him, to be honest. That's good experience, but it'll probably I think it'd be Kobe that they'll actually use.
I think I would put Kobe on him just because Harden's so good at drawing fouls that it's like if there's a player you want to get in foul trouble, like it might as well be. I don't mean this in like a negative way, but it might as well be like your 37-year-old player that's on the last leg of an 8-game road trip, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a second of a back-to-back, so I would hope Kobe only plays like 20 to 25 minutes tomorrow, right?
Nah, he's going to be playing 30,
yeah.
30, 35.
He's gonna go into overtime. He's gonna log 55 minutes, like triple overtime. Yeah, the Rockets started in their last game against the Wizards. They started Patrick Beverly, James Harden, Dwight Howard, Clint Capella, and Corey Brewer. Well, that's kind of an interesting one.
Clint Capella versus Nance. Well, see, Nance shouldn't even be starting, but
Yeah.
that's a different argument. But if that was Randle against Capella, that's like a pretty interesting matchup. But Nance, I mean, I don't know. He's just like a energy player, so it's kind of hard to look forward to him matching up against someone.
Yeah, and Nance was a bit passive tonight. Like there was a couple times where I thought he could have just tried to go dunk on somebody because it's like you've got the athleticism, and then he'd look to dish it off, and then nothing would come of it. So I don't know. I like Nance's future with this team. I think he could be a really good bench player. But yeah, it's definitely still a lot to work on there. So I think we all concluded the same thing. If the Lakers want to win tomorrow, they got to make a few trades and.
Yeah. Yeah. See
Somehow
who's available. Call up Cleveland. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we got to do.
Somehow get Ben Simmons on the roster before June.
We could hack a Dwight. all 48 minutes.
That would be fun.
I think you could hack a Capella too, or whatever you call it.
We're probably going to be hack a Harden, and it won't even be intentional. He'll just get free throw line 20 times.
Over under 15 free throws for James Harden tomorrow.
What's that?
15?
Over under 15 free throws.
Over. He might be able to sit out the fourth quarter, so maybe.
You got to factor the minutes.
Yeah.
I'll say under just because the Lakers play a lot of Ollie defense, so they might not foul him, might just let him go.
Yeah, true.
Surprisingly, the Rockets are actually 11 and 12, but they've been playing better lately. So.
Well, they were a lot.
They lost to the Nets.
Yeah,
that's a quality team.
True.
They actually haven't been bad. They started 1-6 or something like that. The Nets, they started really bad.
I was on Take-A-thon and I was surprised at how ahead we are of them. So
we're sitting comfortably in second.
Yeah, we're gonna finish there. There's no unless the Nuggets tank out or something.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the Pelicans. Just can the Pelicans get a distant? Why are they so close?
They've had a lot of injuries and.
Yeah, but still.
A new coach.
They have Anthony Davis. As long as Anthony Davis is playing, that's not a concern. At least I don't think so.
I'm not concerned, but I just I thought they would be so much better than this. I know they've been hurt in the beginning, but whole different topic.
Yeah, I thought they'd be better too, but all right, this is a Lakers podcast. We can't talk about other teams.
Yeah, quit talking about future Lakers like Anthony Davis.
True. Yeah, I'm scouting.
In 7 years, when his amazing mention is up. All right, so we talked about the game tomorrow. We talked about tonight's game. We'll go ahead. We'll just transition into some questions. I guess we'll do the serious questions first. So this question is, what do you think the likely career high in points and assists for DAngelo Russell are this year?
So season high then.
Season high, yeah.
Yeah, not career high. Well, I'll go first because I'll just go first. Points.
Sound reasoning.
What was that?
That's sound reasoning. I'll go first.
I thought you said bad. I thought you said bad reasoning. I was like, no, that's pretty good reasoning. I would say 33 points and rebounds. I mean, he's already had 10 at least. I think he might have had 11. But so I'll say like 12, and then assists. This team's a hard team to get assists on, but I'll say 13.
Yeah. Matt, what do you got? You got Russell just dropping 60 one night or what?
Yeah, 48. No. Are we talking one game, or is this like individual?
Just like season high marks for each.
I was like, dang, if Russell has like a 32, 13, and like 12 game.
He's gonna have a 50, 30, 20 game.
He has to be averaging that, otherwise he's a bust.
Yeah, I think he'll get to. I think 30 will be his career, I guess career high, but season high. 11 assists and 12 rebounds. Pretty much right around where Ryan had it. Maybe a little lower.
A qualifier on mine. Well, not a qualifier, but I think his highest scoring game will probably be in like March or April. Like once he's well into his first year, and once the team's kind of like basically like not mailing it in, but they're basically just like they're probably going to be playing a lot more loose at the end of the season. At least I think, because we saw that last year too. Like that's when Clarkson like really started to take off.
Yeah, I think all those things will come, like you said, later in the season. I honestly think, I mean, he's at 20, like he's scoring 23 and 24 points already. I'll go with 30 points for his total. I think he'll log a 30-point game at some point this year. Especially if they're giving him just more freedom with the offense. He's a good shooter, so he's going to have one of those games where he's just like 12 of 19 or something like that, where he just shoots really, really well. And I think he'll improve as far as getting to the free throw line as the season progresses too. But yeah, rebounds. I think he'll get like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And then assists, I'll say 10, even though I wouldn't be surprised if he never gets that, just because this team is so hard to get assists with.
Like today, he only had 5 or 6, and he should have had. I mean, if Hibbert knew how to catch a ball or go up with it, or Soccer knew how to do anything, he probably would have had at least 9.
Over-under 0.5 triple-doubles for DAngelo Russell this year.
0.5?
So, basically, do you think he'll get any?
No.
I'll say under just because of the assist thing. Because, he's had double-doubles with points and rebounds, but...
I'm taking the over. We'll come back to this podcast when he gets one.
We'll at you if it doesn't happen now. Kyle asks, are we allowed to talk about the Warriors since that's basically what we watched anyways?
No.
Yeah, no.
I'm not talking about that.
They're talked about enough.
We could talk about Luke Walton, but not that team. And Iguodala.
Speaking of Luke Walton, one of the questions was for us to name the top 5 candidates to be the Lakers' next head coach, because it seems like Byron's job he's inevitably going to be fired. Like whether it's
I don't know about that. I'm not confident. He should be, but I'm not confident about that.
Yeah, he might just be next Laker coach forever. They might just keep trying to get draft pick after draft pick.
They'll freeze him and then bring him back 100 years from now. And he'll still be coaching.
All right, so we'll go just around one by one, and we'll name 5. Ryan, we'll start with you. Who's one guy in your top 5 for the next Laker?
I wonder what this is going to be.
Luke Walton, obviously, but for many reasons. He went to the University of Arizona, and 2, which is the more important reason. Well, I don't know. That's for you guys to decide, but I think that he's just. This Warriors team is great. I probably could coach them to a 20-3 record, but the fact they're 23-0 and the adjustments he's making in games, the rotations, and they're using today they had 2 starters out and they still won.
Yeah.
It's just he's worth a shot. And he's as a player, he was known to be one of the smartest players on the court. Phil Jackson loved him, so it's to me, why not let him grow with the young team? He seems to know what he's doing, unlike Byron. And replacing an Arizona State guy like Byron Scott with a University of Arizona guy like Luke Walton, that can't go wrong.
Do you think the University of Arizona's like Twitter account would say something about that if it happened?
No. I wish. That'd be awesome.
All right, Matt. Who's
Upgrade? They could do the upgrade meme too, like Byron Scott, then the upgrade thing, and then Luke Walton.
See, I already did that for the from our account though, so I'll just have to sue him for copyright infringement, even though those pictures I used weren't mine. So, all right, Matt. What's a coach in your top 5?
Tom Thibodeau. I know he's got his flaws, and DAngelo Russell and Julius Randle might play 48 minutes a game if he's our coach. But I mean, I guess that wouldn't be too bad. But I kind of want to see, like, I don't know how it would go, so I'm not really confident in this choice. But A, it won't be as bad as it is right now, just by default, and B, I think it'd be an interesting fit. I think he's a pretty good coach. I know it ended kind of badly in Chicago, but that's an experiment I'm willing to take.
I was gonna say, at least with that choice, you're getting a guy that will implement like some sort of like defensive like principles, and they'll be playing the right way. Whether they have the personnel to guard other teams will be another story, but at least they'll be like actually strategizing against the other team's offense, which I don't think they do right now, and they won't be helping one pass away off post-ups and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that's the thing with Thibodeau. I think you could give him just about any roster in the NBA, and they would at least be like around an average defensive team. Just because the schemes are really well, it teaches just defensive discipline and all kinds of things like that. So you guys took 2 that I would have in my top 5, but another guy I would have is an assistant coach for the Spurs, which is fitting since we played the Spurs tonight. That would be Torrey Messina. He actually was an assistant for us not too long ago, a couple years ago, and a lot of people speak so highly of him, and he had a lot of success overseas and with just teams over there and whatnot. And I think you could hire just about anybody from Popovich's staff, and you'd probably be all right. They're gonna preach offensive, just ball movement, man movement, just team basketball, and they have things figured out, and they've got good, really sharp basketball minds over that organization. So picking from one of their staff wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So Ryan, I know you like Messina. Do you have another coach that would be in the top 5?
Off the top of my head, like
pick someone in college.
In college, like Kevin Ollie, but that's just for like the Durant. That was who you're like trying to make me pick. Yeah. But that I don't know if he's a good coach. Like Scott Brooks's name has been thrown around, and like people I included like made fun of him as the Thunder coach because his offense was like pretty unimaginative, but. I mean, that team hasn't really improved after the. They're still a great team, but they haven't improved that much after the coaching change. And he is known as a guy that develops players. Westbrook, Durant, Harden, even Ibaka, especially. So that could work. That's an upgrade. That'd still be an upgrade, even if he's not that great of a coach. But Luke and Thibodeau are definitely my two top choices.
All right, Matt, round us out. Number 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it is tough. Who's like the greatest Arizona State player of all time?
James Harden.
Yeah, that's true. If we want to know, people have like talked about Kevin Ollie. It's tough. It's really tough, especially the transition and he's been coaching for so few years that we don't exactly know how good of a coach he is. I mean, he had that one amazing year at UConn, but. If we want to go to college, I guess there's really I'm just thinking of all the college coaches available. There's really not many. Like Hoiberg was one of them. He's gone now. So and Donovan's gone. And Shaka Smart's in Texas now. So it's tough if you want to go to college. I don't really see too many options.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if Kevin Ollie brings Kevin Durant with him, absolutely give him all the money in the world. I don't care. But. I mean, the odds of that happening are very, very slim. But I mean, obviously the college coach I think most people would want is John Calipari, and I think the odds of that happening might be slimmer than Durant signing here. So he seems really happy with Kentucky, and I don't know if he wants to leave them.
I was just gonna say, like, he's a great recruiter, but it's like X's and O's wise. Like, I've never really watched Kentucky and be like, oh wow, like look at these schemes they're running. Like they just usually just have more talent than the other team.
Yeah, he's an excellent recruiter, which maybe that could help in free agency. I don't know.
Nah.
But I think he does a good job of developing his talent over the year. You know, because you look at, guys like, obviously, look at the guys he's produced, like, DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, Karl Anthony Towns, so on and so forth. I think with Towns, it was frustrating for me as somebody trying to evaluate his game last year, obviously because we had a high draft pick. Towns was, like, just planted in the post, and from watching his high school film, I could tell that he was so much more than that as a player. But I think that was kind of by design to help develop him for the next level, because it was something he needed to work on, like footwork and things like that. So, and that's why with Skal Labissiere, I kind of just trust that over the year he's going to learn a lot from Calipari, and he'll just get better throughout the years. So,
if we get Calipari like right now, and we have the second pick in the draft, do you think he can like recruit Ben Simmons to just not work out for the Sixers and just fall in draft? So I'm on board.
I don't even. Well, this is a whole different discussion. We'll have to have another time. But like, if the Sixers even got the number one pick, if they'd even take Simmons, just because they have so many big guys already.
800 high pick front court players already. So.
But if Calipari is a coach, he'd probably take that Skal or Scal, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name.
Or he'd take Jamal Murray as point guard, since Sixers do that too. So. Okay, so the last question we have is probably the dumbest question we've ever received on this show. And it comes from our very own Harrison Fagan.
The answer is yes.
Is Gary on the hot seat?
That's a great question. I don't know what you're talking about.
Valid. Very valid.
I'm going to say
it's tough. I would say yes, but we gotta analyze the next few podcasts, see how you do. Your internet connection is part of the reason you're on the hot seat.
It's been good so far. Like, it's probably about to cut out any second now. But
I had that lag earlier in the show. That's because you got to make your fellow podcasters better. You can't be a selfish player.
Exactly.
And you made me feel bad about that.
Legally, so I'm pretty sure you're just soft by default. So.
and you made me feel bad about that too. You're like, oh, Ryan, go like. So that was a very mean tone, and your player grade, your whatever podcasting grade went down, and so did the podcast chemistry. So
I was calling for
you're on the hot seat.
Well, I'm just gonna say my internet mishaps, they're still within the limit. Okay.
You gotta hold some accountability for yourself though, instead of blaming others.
No, you guys just have to quit being soft and just man up.
Who gets fired first, Byron Scott or Gary?
Oh my God.
Gary. Byron's he'll probably be here for like 30 years. So.
Okay, that's an acceptable answer. If it was like Byron's gonna get fired in 2 weeks, but Gary's not gonna make it that long, I might as well just delete my Twitter now.
See, if we're going to go back to a serious topic, like that's why I want Byron to get fired. This season, I'd like to see the young guys play more and have a better offense, but at least if he gets fired, he won't be back next season, which to me is really important because next year is a super important year for development. But anyway, let's go back to non-serious things.
That was it. We were asked, obviously, to rank each of the members of the Lakers Outsiders, which, number one is pretty obvious at this point. The host with the most, right?
The guy in the hot seat's number one, totally.
I'm near the bottom just because I'm tanking right now.
That's Laker logic, though. They hired Byron after 12 interviews, so he was number one in their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see if we have another question. If we don't, then we can.
Dead last now is Matt. Matt just plummeted to the bottom.
I've had a strong year, man. I'm comeback player of the year. I think I've had that locked up already.
Matt's racking up the double-doubles.
Someone asked me today, because I know Russell today actually had a lot of success, not off the ball. Well, he did have success off the ball, but I think someone asked me, I'll try to find the exact question, but it was something along the lines of, that's actually, I was going to say, like, do you not prefer him at the 1 or the 2, because he's more, to me, like, that's pretty obvious, like, you'd rather have him at the 1, but someone was just asking, you know, because he was playing alongside Huertas. I can't pronounce that guy's name. And so he's just asking, like, if Russell playing at the 2, coming off screens and stuff, is something that we'd want to see more of, basically.
I think you want to see it sparingly. Like, you want to see it at times, but ultimately, he's a creator. He's a playmaker, so he puts the ball in his hands, to make other guys better. And he can spot up shoot every now and then, like if you want to let Clarkson or Randle create. But I think to fully utilize his skill set, which is a very special one. He can be a special player in this league. He's got to be a primary ball handler.
Well, see, I think with Russell and Clarkson, they both, if that's going to be the backcourt of the future, they're both going to have to learn how to play off the ball. Clarkson has gotten, to his credit, gotten really good at
way better
spot-up shooting. Like, he's shooting over 40% from 3 this year. He's shown like he knows when to cut, and his spot-up shooting hasn't been that great this year, but it was pretty good tonight. He got a couple feeds from Kobe and drained the threes. But I think, like, I would like to see that a little, him play the 2, but it's not like, I don't want him, when I say that, I don't want him, like, standing on the wing waiting for someone to give him the ball. Like, if he's coming off screens early in the shot clock and then getting the ball in a position to either shoot it, like, off a ball screen, or, take the ball screen and turn it into a pick and roll, basically. Like, I know they use Clarkson like that a lot, but yeah, he does need to, I would like to see him get better off the ball. Because, like, tonight, for example, they ran a lot of pick and rolls for him, and it went well. But when Clarkson comes back, obviously it's not, one of them's going to have to take, like, if one of them gets more touches, the other one's obviously going to have fewer. So I think in order to have, like, a good balance, or to utilize both players the best way, they got to be able to, balance out their time at the 1 and the 2.
Well, and that's part of the development process, is learning that the right mix. There's give and take with both of them, and Randall's included there too. So that's part of figuring this whole thing out.
Well, and that's why they need to start together, because they need to learn how to play together. But we're too late in the podcast to go any deeper in that, because we could talk about that for hours.
The whole podcast itself.
We can save it for tomorrow. I'll write it down. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. Unless you guys had anything else quickly that we can touch on.
I don't have anything. I'm done.
Yeah, we'll save it for the Houston game.
Other than Tarek Black needs to play, and Anthony Brown needs to play, and Robert Sacre should be resigned to a cheerleader.
He basically is on the bench, though. Like, let's be real.
Which is where it's great. That's his biggest asset to the team.
Bench celebrations, man. Team chemistry. That's what it's all about. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. I think we're going to get out of here before one of us, probably me, has internet problems.
Yeah, we'll see if you make it through the night.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody that sent us questions. Thanks for the people that followed along. And we'll see you guys all next time. Ryan, Matt, thanks again for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow.